Okay, you're recording. Okay, got it.
All right, so today we're going to look at recharging and finishing strong. I know right about the end of October with my students, I just start seeing this falling out. Like people just aren't engaged as much as they used to. And I thought this was really funny. When you are in front of a class, when you're face to face, it's really easy to look out at your students and realize that maybe their eyes are glassed over, or perhaps they're kind of nodding off, or they might even be drooling if it's really bored. And you can change things up and kind of react to that. But online, it's a little bit more difficult to know when you're losing those students, you're losing that engagement without with looking, you don't have any nonverbal clues to help you. So today we're going to look at two things. First of all, is how do we measure online participation engagement? How can we tell when those eyes are glazing over? And then the second part is really going to look at what are some strategies we can use to encourage the online participation and engagement. All right, so just 1 second here. All right, I'm going to open up the polling. And if you read the slide and look at these different reasons for losing engagement, oh, I'm going to actually take it back to okay, so we saw quite a few different looks. I'm going to go ahead and bring back up the PowerPoint just 1 second here. In fact, if you can go ahead and just type in for A, B, C, D, or E. All right, so we see a little bit of different answers coming in through the poll. And all of these are valid answers. And what I really want to point out is today, sometimes the causes that our students might lose engagement online is out of our control. They maybe have family problems, employment, other issues. And there's not one silver bullet. So we're going to look at kind of a collection of strategies today so that we can at least minimize how many students become disengaged and really increase our engagement. So that is really the goal. All right, Dale, if you'd like to take over the presentation.
All right. I am almost there. And all right, are you guys seeing the indicators of engagement slide?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So, sometimes you talk about engagement. Sometimes you can equally just talk about, just as equally as disengagement. They kind of go hand in hand. If they're not engaged, they're disengaged. If not disengaged, they're engaged. There's three things here that we kind of are going to go over with, and that's, the asynchronous discussions. These are places where you can really see where students are being engaged or disengaged. As well as the assignment activities, you'll see that. You can kind of see when people are engaged in assignment activities, and also in the course involvement. You can get some indicators through the course if they're being engaged in it. And that's by looking at logs and different other things that we're going to talk about in a second. And then as the note is here is as the key to monitoring the engagement is to examine the students self-initiated, and that's the really thing we're looking at is this self-initiated course activity. Yeah, did they take the quiz? Perfect. Yeah, they took it. But it's something that they did that is being generated by them that really gives you an indication that they're being engaged in the course. So let's go to the first one, the asynchronous discussion. And let me get these guys up here. So on the indicators of the asynchronous discussions, we all been in our discussion boards where you could tell right away if somebody's being engaged into this in the discussion. They are just posting and responding. Maybe you have a rubric attached to it and you say, sometimes people say, add a for your initial post a paragraph or 2 paragraphs or a word count or something that even says just meaningful. And then you could tell right away if the student's not engaged. It's like a check in the box type of approach, and they're just responding, and it's only 2 sentences long. You kind of get that sense right away from their response. Are they really contributing something meaningful, or are they just responding to a discussion? So we'll move on to the next one. And this is the assignment activity. The student prepares multiple drafts. That's kind of an indication that they're doing it. And just as equally, if they're not presenting and preparing multiple drafts, or just doing it the one time and they're just getting a mediocre score, they're not engaged. Or they reach out to you and they ask for collaboration outside the scheduled activities. They ask, hey, clarification on an assignment, or they ask, do you have open office hours, or you get an email from them. If you're not getting those things from a student and they're not doing very well in the course, these are real clear indicators of engagement or not engaged into the course at all. So another one, I like the last point here, was the student utilizes the feedback from assignments to improve his or her understanding of future performance. You can tell right away from the students if they are not utilizing that feedback to improve their understanding. That's pretty good, clear indication. Now the next one is course involvement. Get these points up here. One of the things, in the course involvement, and the thing in Canvas that you can see right away is if you go to like the People tab and you click on the People tab, and it tells you right there all the students list. It's kind of like the roster view, but it also has when were they last in the course. So you can kind of see, like, if you have all of your assignments due on Sunday night and you see that student A or student B hasn't been in that week at all. Their last activity was last Sunday night. So only time that they're really participating is Sunday night when everybody else has done the work. That's a pretty good indication that they're not really engaged into the course. And just as equally on that People's tab too, it tells you when were they last in that course. Then the next column right beside it tells you how much time have they spent in the course. So I run Angie and I run our e-certification course, and you can tell right away, by the amount of involvement, if they've been in there 20 hours, if they've been in there 30 minutes, and you see that range going from 30 minutes to all the way out to how many hours. I've seen over 100 hours in the course. Wow. And you can see if the 100 hours, that person is really working on the assignments and really starting to be engaged, whereas somebody might be just doing 30 minutes in that check in the box and all these other indicators of course activity, course discussions, and they start all adding together and you start seeing similarities with your students. One of the things here, this next slide is course organization, and it's kind of almost a moot point here because at State College of Florida, we adopted the template right away when we first switched over to Canvas. And it was just a great approach to make sure that every student in every class kind of got the same experience. They didn't have to search, and it wasn't a scavenger hunt, for lack of better words, to go into the course and try to find out. And the last thing you want is the student to search for something and not understand what's going on, and they actually give up, or they say, this is just too much. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. So having everything underneath the modules and either organized by topics or by weeks is really just a great approach to keeping everybody engaged into the course. So move on to the next one. And I believe I'll stop presenting here and turn that over to Angie.
Okay, so I really like to plan as much. People kid me that I have to have a checklist. So kind of one of the first steps here is just to think about like what you have available to you. So in the chat box or over the mic, what are some tools that we have at SCF that are available for your course communication? What are some of the different tools that you can think of?
Email.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
I communicate with them a lot through Canvas email.
Yes.
I have it set up to go to my phone, so I'll see right away if they message me, and I can message them immediately back, and they get it on their phone.
And that's perfect. And we know most of our students are on their phones, so that quick back and forth is excellent. I see Suzanne wrote in announcements. We have our inbox. It's really, we have quite a few. Canvas is really a wonderful LMS as far as giving us lots of different communication tools. I'm waiting to see if we have any more coming in. Okay, yeah, excellent, Gary.
I find it an advantage that Canvas will notify students if I've made a change. So they'll see that right away. And like if I changed a test date or something, or if they have work to do, that little memo comes up on the side that tells them that they have pending assignments.
Yeah, absolutely. That is wonderful.
That's easy communication because it's automatic. I don't have to do it.
Yeah, it's one less thing for us to do, and yeah, really open up those notifications for students. Absolutely. I see Barry said the feedback on assignments. We have those great feedback features where we have rubrics, and then where we can do the concise feedback. Suzanne also mentions discussion boards. We can have the open questions going on, and I see we have a question about the notifications. No, they don't have to have the app if they set it up with their phone, but we can look at that at the end if you like, Suzanne. So this is one of the things that's really important is knowing all the tools available. QM really talks about there's 3 different interactions that should be going on. The student to content, the student to instructor, and then the instructor to content. So one of the things I've stumbled across to help make sure that you're hitting all the different types of interactions is to create a communication plan. So this is a template that I found that I really liked. It kind of looked at some of the course activities, for example, the course introduction. So first you kind of start out brainstorming, okay, how could I do this? I could do it through discussion forum, email, video, web conferencing like Skype or conferences, announcements, and then really think about like what is the goal of the interaction? Because depending on what the activity is, you're going to have a different goal, and then you choose your tool. So I really like doing this at, before the course starts so that I'm really making sure that I'm interacting with the students many different ways, and then also that the students are interacting with each other and with the content. So I think coming up with a communication plan from the very get-go is really a great strategy. And also if we take a look at, the communication of your expectations. This little image right here of the one person in the theater. Online, it's really easy for students to kind of feel out there on their own. So one of the goals for really building in that social presence is letting the students know, hey, no, there's a whole auditorium around you filled up with other students, and I'm here as well. And one of the really strong pieces there is to first start off by communicating your expectations. Like, hey, I'm here. I will be answering your emails and during the week within 24 hours. You should expect grading feedback within 48 hours. And if you want to get in touch with me, these are the best ways, or these are my office hours. And really making sure that you articulate those expectations very clearly. That'll really help those students, help them feel connected. The welcome to the course announcement is such a big part. When you think about your face-to-face courses, if most people on the first day of school are standing out there, they're, telling everybody, welcome to the course. They come in, they try to be smiling. That's kind of the same thing. We want to build that enthusiasm for our course. And we also want to start letting them get to know us. It's important that the students know who we are as a person. Lots of different ways you can do this. Some people like to, send an email or an announcement. You can also, if you want to include video, that can be another great way to kind of make those connections. And then, it's really best practice to include some type of activity for students to get to know themselves or get to know the other students in the course. The student-to-student interaction can really help promote that engagement. Pretty much across the board, all the research suggests that that is a very important piece. And it is also part of Quality Matters as well. So, all right, so another great strategy, when we think about what does a student know about the teacher, a lot of times it will be more than just us directly talking to them. When they take a look and see, oh wow, my professor really organized everything so clearly, and they're really telling me what they expect each time we go into a new module, that's going to be part of what they how they feel about the course and how they kind of feel that the professor is on their side. So one of the great strategies is to have at the beginning of each module have some sort of overview. And this is a great time where you're going to, kind of do what are the objectives for this module, maybe do some highlights of the previous module and how they connect. You might want to acknowledge some academic challenges. If particular assignments or particular objectives are going to present some struggles, give them a heads up, say, hey, this is tough. You might want to plan some extra time or consider coming in for tutoring or something to help you with this. And also talk about, the different activities in the description. So a weekly or a module overview is another great strategy to help the learners really know that you are there for them and you're guiding their learning. All right, and then, when it comes to, I saw, you were talking about the grading. Constructive feedback is such an essential part of establishing that relationship. It's a delicate balancing act because you want to push the learner to go a little bit further, but you also need to do it constructively so that they don't lose their self-efficacy with the class. So some of the things that you really should try to include when you're providing feedback are if you see, what the learner is doing right. Sometimes that can be a challenge, on some of the work, but if you can just find the little pieces that they're doing right, point that out in their feedback. For example, hey, you did a really great job documenting all your data, and then kind of build from there. And then the second piece is be very specific on where the learner needs to improve. Ultimately, it's about the learning experience, and so this feedback is one of the best ways that professors can really push their then what they can do next, what are exact ways that they can improve their performance, and then try to sandwich it. I always try to start off with, here's a good thing about it, here's what you need to improve, and then try to finish with another, like, keep up the great work, I can't wait to see when you have your next assignment completed. So really kind of making sure you sandwich that feedback. So here's it kind of broke down. This is really kind of looking at adding in a rubric with this. So first, in any rubric, you would want to start out with your criteria. For example, states position with at least 3 arguments. And then you want to look at the level of performance. Those can be set up in Canvas so many different ways. It kind of how you like to, whether you want a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Of course, the more granular that is, it's great because then it will put in those auto comments for you. And then with those comments, you also want to include what the learner needs to do to improve. So these are all important pieces. And also, be considerate of netiquette as well. You want to use their first names. It really helps build that connection. If I say, hey, Dale, da 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 da, it's gonna, that's an important part of netiquette. And being timely is really important. A lot of students will wait until that grade comes in to start on their next piece. So the faster you are with grading, I have found the more students tend, as soon as they see that first grade, they'll tend to jump on the next. So I think that's a great way to keep them motivated. And then, always looking for that constructive feedback. So here's an example. First, it starts off Jim, so it's, addressing their exact name. Oops. And then it's going on and adding in, hey, I noticed you did this in your assignment. And then it's telling them, what they really need to do to improve their grade, and then signing off. So that would be an example of having all those components. Here's another component using the rubrics in Canvas. So first you can see for each one of the criteria, it comes up with, what they did or did not do. And then in the specific feedback, in this example, I really like to try to quote something from the students if possible, and say, for what they're doing right. That makes it very specific and very individualized. And then pull in, the pieces that they really need to do, what they really need to look for if they were to achieve 100%. And then I always close it off as well with a little bit of feed forward. I know I have their attention when they're reading that grading feedback, so I like to take anything that tends to be a choking point in the upcoming module and then use that, in their feedback. Say, hey, there's a video to help you with that lab. You might want to watch that first before you do the assignment. All right, so again, I always suggest people reread your feedback. And if you feel yourself getting in a bad mood, walk away from your grading. When you get that email and your blood is boiling, just stop, take a walk, do whatever it is, that you need to do, and come back later. You want to make sure that you are just maintaining that friendly, safe environment for your student. And, be careful of your vocabulary. A lot of times I've tried to be funny, and it didn't come out right when it was on an email or something. So be very careful of that. That's a big piece of etiquette. And of course, you don't ever use all caps where you're yelling, yelling over the online. So, and it's really about keeping that friendship going with your students, letting them know that you're supportive. All right, and then, another way to really increase, keep them going at this time of year is I try to have special assignments going on that are very relevant. Like, for example, I might have a guest speaker come in to the a guest discussion board speaker, have a guest come in and interact with them on the discussion board. You might think about how you could have choices in the assignments to allow, people with different learning styles a little bit more choice. So all of those are also good strategies. All right, Dale, so if you want to pick it up here with assessment strategies.
You got it. Thank you. So the assessment strategies, you can, as this title is saying, there's some things that you can do to really help out engage students with assessment. And, one of the things in Canvas that you can do is do the practice quiz. The practice quizzes are great because they are worth points, but they don't go into your grade book. So the students can practice. They can go into a practice quiz, take it as many times as they want if you wanted them to do that, and it never shows up in their grade book, but they actually get feedback on it. So if you do a multiple choice one, they can take it and see that they got a 90% on it, and they can do it again until they get 100% on it. And again, that doesn't count towards their grade, so a great way to do some assessment strategies. Another one would be the open book exam. I also mentioned concept maps, another great way, and developing a learning contract. I've seen that done before, and this helps, for students to assume greater responsibilities. And one of the things that I like is, make it relevant, provide opportunities for students to apply what they're learning. So provide them, activities that are just not just check in the box type of strategies, and provide them some opportunities where they're doing relevant and worthy work. The next one that we're going to go on to is engaging online learners with technologies. So, I think we all realize that, the Word and PDF files are awesome, but there's other technology out there that can be more engaging than just a student using a Word or PDF. You can use the video clips. One of the things that we have here at the SCF is we have the Office 365. So with that comes this plugin called Office Mix. And what it does is you can download it, and then you're going to see a little tab on your PowerPoint where you can make more interactive PowerPoints where you can add the audio. You can do a little bit more with your PowerPoint than just doing the older way of doing the embedding audio into your PowerPoint. The Mix is a little bit cleaner program. You can store it in your Office Mix. You can share that mix with your students. So just a great way to do that. As going on, what is gamification? So if you want to, just write on the whiteboard or in the chat box or open up your mic. It's a pretty small crowd here, so let's just talk about some gamification. And one of the things that I really like about gamification is you don't realize that some students are really motivated by a point system, a leaderboard. In Canvas, it has awarding badges. You can do achievements. You can create challenges. But if you've never seen the badge system, in our Easter course, we have in the past, and we do some times in the future, we use the accessibility badge. So if somebody successfully completes the course, they get an accessibility badge, or they get an Easter course badge. And you can do this in your course too. So if you're working on a series of courses or an assignment in the course, you can create a very specific badge. And that badge can then show up on the student's profile. So if you want to learn more about badges, just drop Angie and I an email or call us or text, or stop by. We can help you with that. We got about 3 minutes left, so I'm going to keep on moving on. And I believe this may be Angie's, but it could be mine.
Yeah, this is my deal. I just really wanted to remind students, remind you guys that participants in your class, if you go into SpeedGrader, you can always do that message students who. And so if you have students that have not turned in an assignment, this is a really fast way. You don't have to sort through, find their emails, just use that message students who, and you can send out an email reminding them like, hey, this is due Wednesday, still not seeing yours. Or if they didn't turn it in and you allow late work, you might send that out to a group. It's just such a time saver. Other things, a lot of times, Dale mentioned earlier that in the discussion boards, you may see a student not being super engaged, not posting very thoughtful, well thought out posts. So, the art of questioning is definitely for educators, so important. And I like to keep lists of questions that I can refer to, that I can use to help push that conversation in the discussion boards. I really like, this is from Elder and Paul, and I think these lists of question stems are fantastic because they target specific, like, do you want to increase the clarity? So if you have a student post something very vague to the discussion board, yeah, I agree with John. You can say, look, using the different stems, well, could you give me an example of why you agree with John? Or can you be more specific on, to really push them into making that a well thought out post, or maybe encourage some discourse in your discussion boards. So I keep a sheet of all these stems and just refer to it to help me along when I'm posting the discussions. And then, you can be doing all these best practices along the way, and then you can still have students that are just not performing well in your course. And, sometimes we forget about the easy thing. Just pick up the phone and call them. We have their numbers available. And if you call a student, hey, is everything going okay? I've noticed you really haven't been working in my class for a while, and I just wanted to check on you, show that you care, A lot of times I found when I call the students, I find out, wow, they might have had a death in their family or something serious going on. And it's just, having that communication. Just because you're online, you can still pick up the phone and call. Additionally, there's email, texting students. I text students on a frequent basis. I find that they're very responsive to text versus email. And then you can also direct them to different resources. Here at SEF, I think we stand out because we have so many resources to help our students be successful. So, calling them, emailing, texting them, make sure that they are connected to those resources if they're struggling. When you are talking to your students as well, I think it's very important to consider all these different components. Like, say you're using an email, you need to be very precise on what is your issue that you're noticing, and are there any solution strategies to the issue. You need to be very precise and tell the student, okay, you need to do this, this, and this, and have a timeline and what the results are. So for example, this would be like for a student that in Module 3, they've completely stopped participating. It starts off here where it's saying, hey, you missed 2 graded activities. These are the activities you met. And then depending on your late policy, if you do accept late work, you might want to put, I will accept these, and give them a deadline. And then, always close it with offering help and let them know that you're there to support them. So I think having all these pieces in, whether it's a phone call, if you're doing a phone call, you need to have these same pieces in as well. And then, or an email. And if you do a phone call, I always advise to follow up with an email and say, hey, we talked about X, Y, and Z, and that you would have this done by this date. That just gives a record of the communication, but it also will help the student maybe refer to exactly what the expectations are. All right, so we talked about quite a bit about how, Dale really talked about how you can see if the indicators that students are engaged, and then a lot of ways to encourage that online participation and engagement. Just a quick reminder, we are going to have part 4. I'm very excited. Dr. Jean Davis will be talking about reflection and continuous improvement for the course as we look into rolling into a new course, some of the ways that you can take what you've learned over this course and make your course better. And we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now. And I do have a form that I will email you guys so that you can get your a certificate for attending today. So I'll go ahead. What questions do you guys have at this time?
Okay, I just want to be clear. So part 4 is going to be Jean Davis, November 30th at 4 p.m. webinar. And I'll get an invitation like I did today?
Yes, absolutely. We sure will. And it's offered face-to-face December 2nd or the webinar version on November 30th. And we will definitely send out reminders for that.
Oh, yeah. 4 p.m. is probably not going to work for me out of class, though. The 2nd will work. I could go there. Okay.
Fantastic. We can't wait to see you. And
Is Dale going to be there out in Bradenton in person?
Yes, that is the plan, that she will be there. When we send out the invite, we will make sure that she might have to Skype in for it, but we'll make sure that we're
conducting it either way.
Yes.
Oh, well,
and we record it too, Judy.
I can do it there. I can watch her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
And Judy, we'll record it too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the other seminars, I sort of have to work backwards and watch the recordings.
Yeah.
If I have any trouble opening them up, I'll contact you. So then I did have that one question about what is office mix?
Yeah, I'll take that question. You can Office Mix is a program that's just a plug inside of your PowerPoint. So you go to mix.com, I believe it is, and then you'll download the Office Mix. And then it gives you the ability to open up and be a little bit more, have more editing capabilities for adding audio inside of your mix, inside of your PowerPoint. And it's just not you can stop it and pause it. And don't like it, re-record one slide at a time. And then it allows you to store that file inside the cloud, and then you can provide a link to that file for your students.
Okay, we were good up until you went into the cloud, and then you were really over my head.
No, we'll Angie or I can definitely show you when we're out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, and I should be working with Jean Davis in the future. She wants to create a new online course, so hopefully I can learn some tricks from her.
Oh, she's fantastic. Yeah,
Oh,
that'd be great.
really? See, I never would have known that.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah, isn't that surprising?
Yeah, she's a good lady. Good for her. Yeah, I wish I were. I'm trying to push myself to use technology for lots of different things in my life, and so I'll force myself to get more comfortable with it.
And just so you know, Jean Davis too is also, we do our e-certification course, and she's helping us out in our e-certification course too. And then week 4 is her discussion a week where she answers questions to all the new faculty coming in. So great person to have in for our seminar and also in our e-cert.
Okay. And so I finished my e-cert, right?
Yes, you did.
Okay. But the webinars will always add to that skill,
Yep.
right? Okay. Okay, thanks so much.
Yep, absolutely. And everybody else, Suzanne and Jose, Barry, Tara, Brenda was there for a little bit. If you guys got any questions, we'll be on here for a little bit.
I sent a link to the form too. If you want to go ahead and just add your name and email to the form, and that'll make sure that your attendance is documented for the session so that we can get the certificates to you.
Oh, okay. It's Suzanne. I just have a question.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Suzanne.
I was wondering about that app, or how, I know that when I have on my phone, because I have the app installed on my phone, whenever I send messages or when students send me something, I get a little notification of it or whatever. But I don't know if students that don't have their app set up on the phone or other device, if they get those notifications.
Dale, I think, and maybe you could verify this, but I believe that if they have their phone number entered, that they'll get the notifications.
That's all that's necessary. Okay.
Because there's a way that you can put in your phone number, and you have to say like who your carrier is. Like there's a place there.
I know what you're talking about now. Okay, good enough. That answers a question, an assumption I should say, that I had been making for a long time.
Yeah.
I get it. Okay, thank you.
It would be.
Yep, and we can show you how to do that, Suzanne. And you just go to your personal profile there, your settings, and you click on settings, and you'll see that tab for adding a personal phone number. And it just walks you right through the steps.
All right, perfect. And then I have one more question. Did you send out, because I get, I may have gotten this, so I'm not asking for it if I've gotten it already. I guess it's my job to hunt. But the first session we did with Dr. Barnhouse, and we talked about getting started in an online course for the semester. Did you send out certificates to us on that one, or was that something? I don't remember doing this little Google form.
And then also, we did send those out, but I'm also in our faculty online learning faculty resource course. We're going to post them inside of there too.
Oh, terrific idea.
And because I've been starting to add things inside of there now, and we'll add them to there too.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Well, then I'm just, pleased as punch. That was a good presentation. Thank you so very much.
Well, thank you so much, Suzanne. And we really look forward to on the form that I sent out. We're soliciting, future ideas for seminars. We really talked a lot about kind of developing this as a professional learning community where we're all kind of contributing. And so we'd love to hear some of your feedback on some ideas for upcoming seminars or things that you would like to work on.
Okay, I will try to come up with some ideas here to do that.
All right, fantastic.
All right. Y'all have a wonderful day and thanks.
You too,
Thank you.
Suzanne.
Bye.
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 See you,
Bye,
Judy.
Bye, Jose, Barry,
That
Tara.
was nice and easy.
Bye, guys. Have a good afternoon.
Bye.
Hey, Dale?
Yeah, I'm still here. I can barely hear you, Jose.
Okay, hold on. I don't know why.
Oh, no, I just turned up my volume. I can hear
Okay,
you.
all right, okay. I know you want to shut me down. Here, so, I've been trying, as we were talking, I was trying to get into Office Mix, and several ways to get through it. I was trying to get it through the Microsoft account, and I'm going back and forth getting codes because I forgot my password kind of thing. But is that the way you prefer for us to try to get Office Mix, or is there a school account that you want us to use, or?
Yeah, you go in, when you go to mix.office.com, when you go there, you can say sign in. And when you hit sign in, it gives you 4 options. And you're going to sign in with a work or school account. And when you do that, it takes you directly to the CAS authentication. So you'll enter your email and your
Right,
user.
sign in with a school account. Good.
Yeah, sign in with a school account.
And then it takes, to Office, okay. I see it, and okay.
Yeah, and then you'll see right when you sign in, it'll give you that says right in the middle, PowerPoint gets interactive, get Office Mix, and you just click the download, and it's a really small file, 6.5 megabytes.
And Jose, we actually
Yeah.
have a video here for you.
Okay.
I just posted it. It's on our SEF Online Learning YouTube channel, but
Okay.
that will kind of walk you through kind of the steps of doing that as well.
Okay. Right, because I got as far as getting into the Office Mix, and it says now close PowerPoint before installed, and you download it. Okay, all that stuff. So, I'll watch the video. That's good.
Okay,
All right.
fantastic.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Jose.
All right. Thanks a lot for the seminar.
Absolutely.
Thank you very
Thanks, Jose.
Okay, bye.
And Tara, you're our last person in here. If you have any questions, please feel free just to use your mic or chat in the chat window. If not, we'll just sign off in another minute. All right, I just removed Tara manually out of the session, so it's just us 3 in here now.
All right. Well, I guess I'll see you later here.
Yeah, do you want to stop recording?
Yes. Hold on.